Those of you who are acquainted with literary history will know that there is a very famous article by Émile Zola, published in the late 19th century, of course in French, also titled J'accuse, which means I accuse. In Zola's case, he was taking the French government to task for lying about the supposed responsibility of a Jewish military officer, Alfred Dreyfus, for the defeat of France in the Franco-Prussian War. Zola was one of the very few French intellectuals to come to Alfred Dreyfus's defense. And by the way, Dreyfus was eventually cleared of all the suspicion and all the charges laid against him. My own situation, being a cancellation survivor, is a lot different and, of course, not as serious as what befell Alfred Dreyfus. Nevertheless, I do feel that in my personal circumstances, I was also the victim of a collusion of persons uninterested in actually hearing both sides of a story, uninterested in having a formal public debate about the injustices facing Indigenous people, especially Indigenous women and girls who have suffered violence in this patriarchal, colonial, settler state. And were basically only interested in trying to deplatform me, to make sure that I would never be able to have a chance to share my poetry or my research, my scholarship with any audience in public ever again. When I was canceled, when I was deplatformed in early 2020, at that moment, I was not permitted, except for a single op-ed piece in the Toronto Star, to respond to my critics who basically ganged up on me in the public sphere in terms of social media as well as mainstream media, to basically defame me and ruin my reputation. And I will say for no good reason. I have always felt that it was very important to speak back to this moment of essentially McCarthyite silencing, an instance of Orwellian defamation of character. And I did write several essays to respond to that moment, which was extremely stressful for me and also extremely unfair, I think, from any objective perspective. And so I felt that ultimately I had to respond, but the best way to respond was through poetry. And so that is the raison d'etre for J'accuse.